My friends, let me tell you something very important about life. Blessings are not accidents. They are not random strokes of luck, nor are they the result of chance. Blessings are evidence of divine order, a clear signal that you are in harmony with God's purpose for your life. When God blesses you, the universe rearranges itself in your favor. And if you are alert, you will recognize four unmistakable signs that His hand is upon you. Let me break them down into 12 powerful points so you never mistake them when they arrive. When God's blessing begins to move in your life, the first sign you will notice is that doors you thought were sealed shut suddenly begin to open. Opportunities that once felt out of reach will show up in unexpected ways, almost as if the world itself is extending an invitation for you to step into a new level. You will find yourself in situations where paths that used to look blocked now reveal clear passages, and this is not coincidence. It is divine orchestration. The blessing doesn't just bring opportunities, it brings the right opportunities at the right time. As these doors open, you will encounter people who seem to appear at just the right moment. These are not random meetings, but divine connections placed in your journey to help guide, encourage, and support you. The right voices will enter your life to provide wisdom, the right partners will appear to walk alongside you, and the right helpers will show up with resources you once thought were impossible to secure. Every meeting, every conversation, every new introduction will carry a sense of purpose. Another sign of blessing is that what you once pursued with great effort will begin to pursue you. You will notice that opportunities, recognition, and even success come searching for you rather than you constantly chasing after them. When you are aligned with God's plan, you no longer need to force your way forward. Instead, things begin to flow in your direction almost magnetically because favor has a way of drawing good things into your life without endless struggle. With this comes a deep and unexplainable peace. While others may be restless and anxious about the future, you will carry a calmness that makes no sense to the world. Challenges and uncertainties will still come, but instead of being shaken, you will feel anchored. Fear begins to loosen its grip, and in its place, faith takes over. This peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of divine assurance that you are being carried forward by God's hand. You will also notice that your personal growth becomes unstoppable. Talents you once overlooked start to blossom, and your potential rises to the surface with clarity and power. Each challenge you encounter no longer feels like a burden, but rather a refining process that sharpens your strength. Success no longer looks like a distant dream. It becomes a natural byproduct of walking in alignment with your purpose. The blessing makes growth inevitable, because it pushes you to become the person capable of carrying the gift you have been given. Finally, when God blesses you, it does not stay contained within your life alone. The overflow begins to touch others around you. Your family, friends, and even strangers will feel the impact of what you carry. People will be inspired not by what you say, but by the visible evidence of favor in your life. You will become a source of encouragement, a living testimony that blessings multiply when shared. This is the ultimate sign. When what God gives you spreads beyond your own needs and uplifts the lives of others, you know His blessing is upon you. When God blesses you, one of the first changes you will notice is that the people in your life begin to shift. Those you never imagined meeting will suddenly appear, almost as if drawn into your path by an unseen hand. They will not come without purpose. Instead, they will arrive with exactly what you need in that season: guidance, wisdom, and resources. Some will offer knowledge that changes how you think, while others will extend a hand of support that helps you step into opportunities you couldn't have reached on your own. These connections are not accidents. They are part of the divine plan unfolding in your life. At first, you might feel surprised at how doors seem to open through these encounters. The right introduction, the right conversation, or the right partnership shows up exactly when you are ready to receive it. You will notice that what you struggled to find before is now placed directly in your path. These people may not stay in your life forever, but their timing is perfect. They come as messengers or helpers for a specific moment. And when you look back, you'll realize that every single meeting had significance, even if you didn't recognize it at first. These divine connections also carry a certain energy that feels different from ordinary relationships. You will sense that they are aligned with your growth and that their words or actions move you closer to your purpose. Sometimes it's a mentor who challenges you to think bigger. Sometimes it's a friend who lifts your spirit when you feel low. And other times it's a stranger who offers an opportunity that changes the course of your journey. The common thread is that each of these people adds something valuable that you could not have supplied on your own. As this unfolds, you will also see that these connections are often reciprocal. The blessing doesn't flow in just one direction. Instead, you also bring something meaningful into their lives. God's design is never one-sided. When He places people in your path, it's so both lives can be enriched. What they give to you may be wisdom, resources, or open doors, while what you give them might be encouragement, inspiration, or even the faith to keep going. This mutual exchange confirms that the connection is not random, but divinely arranged. Another important thing to understand is that these people will often arrive at moments when you feel least prepared. You might doubt yourself, thinking you have nothing to offer, but that is exactly when God shows His hand. The timing is proof that blessings are not about your strength alone, but about His orchestration. These encounters remind you that you are not walking alone, and that heaven always has a way of supplying exactly what you need through the right vessels at the right time. When you start recognizing these signs, gratitude will become your natural response. Instead of questioning why these people have appeared, you will begin to see them as evidence of God's blessing in action. They are living reminders that He works through others to guide, uplift, and resource you. And as you embrace these divine connections, your path will become clearer, your steps more confident, and your blessings more visible, not just for you, but for all who witness the change in your life. When God's blessing is upon you, something shifts in the balance of effort and reward. You will notice that the very things you once chased after with desperation begin to move toward you with ease. Success, recognition, and even opportunities that once felt like distant dreams now find their way to your door. It is as if life itself is cooperating with you, aligning circumstances and events in your favor. This does not mean you stop working hard, but it means your work is guided, and because it is guided, it attracts results more naturally. Think about how much energy is wasted when people run endlessly after things that were never meant for them. They push, they struggle, they exhaust themselves, yet fulfillment remains out of reach. But when you are aligned with a higher plan, the effort you put in multiplies its returns. The same actions that once yielded nothing now bear fruit. This is not because you have suddenly become more powerful on your own, but because God's blessing turns effort into harvest. This reversal, from chasing to attracting, creates a new sense of confidence. You no longer feel like a beggar knocking on doors, hoping someone will let you in. Instead, you carry yourself with assurance, knowing that what belongs to you cannot miss you. Opportunities will begin to recognize your value. People will seek your contribution, and blessings will show up not because you forced them, but because you became aligned with the flow of divine purpose. As this happens, you will notice that life feels less like a struggle and more like a rhythm. Things that once required constant pleading and pushing now arrive as a natural response to your growth. Just as rivers flow to the sea, so too do blessings flow to the person who is walking in harmony with God's will. The waiting, the pressing, the endless striving are replaced with a calm trust that what is yours is already on its way. This shift also transforms how you see yourself. You stop living with a scarcity mindset, fearing that if you don't chase, you'll be left behind. Instead, you develop a mindset of abundance, understanding that the universe has more than enough to supply you. You realize that blessings are not meant to be forced, they are meant to be received when the time and alignment are right. This perspectives you from desperation and allows you to focus on becoming the best version of yourself, which only attracts even more of what you desire. And in the end, this sign of blessing becomes undeniable. The very things that once ran from you will now knock on your door, asking to be part of your life. Success will recognize your effort, opportunities will find your name, and peace will fill your heart. When God blesses you, you stop running after what you want and start walking confidently toward your destiny. Because what is meant for you now has the power to chase you. Even in the middle of storms, you feel a calmness that cannot be explained by human logic. This peace is not the absence of problems, but the presence of assurance that you are being guided by a power greater than yourself. While the world around you may be in chaos, your spirit remains steady because you know you are not walking through the storm alone. You may not have all the answers, and you may not see the full picture, but something deep inside tells you that you are safe, you are covered, and you are on the right path. This kind of peace is not something you can manufacture with positive thinking or wishful hope. It is a gift that comes only when you are aligned with God's blessing. Others may question how you manage to remain calm when everything around you seems uncertain, but that is the very nature of divine peace. It surpasses human understanding. It shields your mind from panic and your heart from fear, giving you the strength to keep moving forward when others might collapse under the weight of pressure. With this peace, you begin to handle challenges differently. Instead of reacting with anger, worry, or despair, you respond with patience and clarity. You are no longer controlled by emotions that rise and fall with circumstances because your foundation is rooted in something deeper. Problems do not vanish, but your perspective changes. You stop magnifying the size of your troubles and start magnifying the size of the one who carries you through them. That shift alone gives you a sense of control over situations that once felt overwhelming. Another result of this peace is that your confidence grows. When you see yourself standing firm in situations that would have shaken you in the past, you realize just how far you've come. You learn that storms are not always meant to destroy you. They are often meant to reveal the strength within you. Every test becomes a testimony, and every difficulty becomes an opportunity to see God's blessing in action. This realization allows you to face future challenges with less fear and more faith, knowing that if you made it through before, you will make it through again. This calmness also affects those around you. People notice the steadiness in your spirit and are drawn to it. They begin to ask questions, to seek your advice, or to lean on your strength when their own faith feels weak. Without even trying, you become a source of encouragement, a living example of what it means to walk in divine peace. Your calmness becomes contagious, inspiring others to believe that if you can remain grounded in the storm, so can they. Ultimately, this peace is a confirmation of blessing. It tells you that no matter what happens externally, you are protected internally. It whispers to your soul that the storm has an end, and beyond it lies growth, breakthrough, and victory. The storm loses its power over you because the blessing has already secured your outcome. When you live with this kind of calmness, you do not just survive storms, you rise through them stronger, wiser, and more certain of the hand of God upon your life. Situations that once shook your confidence now look small compared to the faith rising inside you. Challenges that used to intimidate you lose their power because you no longer view them through the lens of fear. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" your mind begins to ask, "What if this is the very step that leads me forward?" That simple shift in perspective transforms obstacles into stepping stones. You realize that difficulties are not walls meant to keep you out, but doors meant to push you toward growth and resilience. When God's blessing is on you, fear begins to lose its authority. The very same problem that once kept you awake at night now feels manageable, even conquerable, because faith provides a new kind of strength. You trust that every situation is temporary and that none of them can block what is divinely meant for you. Confidence grows not because the challenges disappear, but because your inner assurance outweighs the weight of uncertainty. You see the size of your God instead of the size of your struggle, and that shift brings courage. As your confidence grows, you stop avoiding challenges and start embracing them. You begin to step into situations that once made you retreat, knowing that each test is shaping you into someone stronger and more prepared for what lies ahead. The very places that used to highlight your weaknesses now reveal your growth. Every time you overcome what once defeated you, your faith deepens, and your confidence becomes less about what you can do and more about what God is doing through you. This rising faith doesn't just stay within you, it begins to affect the way you interact with others. People notice your composure, your courage, and your ability to stay grounded in moments where most would crumble. Without realizing it, you become an example to those around you, proving that it is possible to live with strength even when circumstances are uncertain. Your confidence becomes a beacon of hope for others who are struggling to find their own. In time, you start to view life with a new lens of expectation rather than fear. Instead of seeing problems as reasons to give up, you recognize them as opportunities to prove the strength of your faith. What once shook you becomes small, and what once felt impossible begins to look achievable. This transformation is a clear sign of blessing because nothing demonstrates God's presence more than a heart that stands unshaken while the world around it trembles. The noise of fear begins to fade, replaced by the steady rhythm of trust that God is leading you forward. Fear thrives on uncertainty, on the unknown, and on the belief that you are walking alone. But when the blessing of God rests upon you, fear loses its power because you know with certainty that your steps are guided. Instead of being consumed with what ifs, you begin to rest in the assurance of what will be. This shift in thinking silences the loud voices of doubt that once dictated your decisions and held you back from moving toward your true purpose. Trust grows stronger as you begin to notice small signs of progress that confirm you are not abandoned. Every open door, every answered prayer, every moment of unexpected provision becomes a reminder that God is orchestrating details you cannot always see. This awareness helps you rely less on your own understanding and more on divine timing. Where fear once caused hesitation, trust now fuels momentum, giving you the courage to move forward even when you don't yet see the full path ahead. The rhythm of trust is steady, not frantic. It calms your spirit and brings clarity to your mind. Instead of being paralyzed by worst-case scenarios, you start to focus on possibilities. You develop an inner confidence that no matter what happens, you are being carried toward something good. This calm faith allows you to step into new territory with boldness, knowing that God's blessing is not a fleeting moment, but a constant presence that goes with you wherever you are called to go. As you continue to walk in this rhythm, the voices of doubt that used to echo loudly in your mind begin to fade into whispers. They no longer dominate your choices, and they no longer define your future. You start to look back on moments of fear and realize how much they stole from you in the past, but instead of regretting lost time, you feel empowered by the new strength you carry. This transformation is evidence that fear never had the final word, it only had the power you once gave it. Trust also reshapes how you handle setbacks. Instead of seeing delays or disappointments as signs of failure, you view them as part of a larger process. You recognize that even closed doors are blessings in disguise, steering you away from harm or from opportunities that are not meant for you. Fear interprets obstacles as endings, but trust interprets them as redirections. That understanding keeps your spirit steady and your focus unshaken because you believe that every step forward, even the ones that seem uncertain, is leading you closer to what has been prepared for you. Ultimately, living with trust instead of fear changes your entire outlook on life. You wake up with expectancy rather than anxiety, knowing that each day carries purpose. You approach challenges with calm determination, and you move forward with faith that your steps are ordered. The blessing of God does not remove every trial, but it gives you the strength to face them without trembling. And when the noise of fear is finally replaced with the steady rhythm of trust, you begin to experience life the way it was always meant to be lived, with courage, with clarity, and with unshakable confidence in the path ahead. Your talents, which once felt hidden, suddenly flourish like seeds that have found the perfect soil. For a long time, you may have carried abilities within you that seemed unnoticed, undervalued, or perhaps even forgotten. You may have questioned whether you were truly gifted or whether your dreams had any real place in this world. But when the blessing of God begins to operate in your life, those very talents that once lay dormant begin to rise to the surface. What was overlooked by others now shines in ways that cannot be ignored because the right season has arrived for your gifts to bear fruit. Growth happens not by accident, but by alignment. Just as seeds cannot grow without the right soil, water, and light, your talents cannot flourish until they are placed in the right environment. The blessing of God creates that environment for you. Suddenly, you find yourself surrounded by opportunities to use what you have been given. Platforms appear, doors open, and situations arise that allow your hidden strengths to come alive. It is not that the gifts weren't there before, it is that they are now being nourished by the favor and timing of God. As your talents begin to flourish, you notice a shift in the way you see yourself. Where once you doubted your value, you now walk with the confidence that you carry something meaningful. You realize that your uniqueness was never a mistake and that the very things that set you apart are the same things that will open doors for you. The world doesn't need you to imitate someone else. It needs you to fully express the gifts you were born with. That realization alone frees you from comparison and gives you the boldness to embrace your true identity. This flourishing also changes the way others perceive you. People who may have once dismissed you begin to take notice. Some will admire, some will question, and some may even resist the growth they see in you, but none will be able to ignore it. That is the nature of blessing. It makes the invisible visible, the hidden undeniable, and the ordinary extraordinary. As your talents rise, they attract attention, not so you can boast, but so you can serve, inspire, and fulfill the greater purpose you were designed for. The growth of your talents also comes with responsibility. Just as a tree bears fruit not for itself but for others, your gifts are meant to bless those around you. When you flourish, it is not just for personal success, it is so that others can be fed, encouraged, and lifted through what you bring into the world. This understanding keeps you grounded, reminding you that your talents are not possessions to hoard but tools to share. The more you give, the more you grow, and the cycle of blessing continues. In time, you look back and realize that what once seemed buried was never dead. It was simply waiting for the right season. The blessing of God brings that season, and when it comes, no force on earth can hold back your growth. Your talents will expand beyond your imagination, your influence will reach further than you expected, and your life will become a living testimony that nothing is wasted when placed in the hands of God. The seed of talent was always in you, the blessing simply gave it room to bloom. The challenges you face no longer defeat you, instead, they refine you and shape you into someone stronger. In the past, obstacles may have seemed like heavy burdens, breaking your spirit and leaving you discouraged. But when God's blessing is upon you, trials begin to serve a new purpose. They are no longer stumbling blocks designed to stop you. They are refining fires that strip away weakness, fear, and doubt, leaving you more resilient and capable than before. What once crushed you now strengthens you, because the blessing gives you the perspective to see beyond the struggle. Every challenge carries within it a lesson, and when you are aligned with divine favor, those lessons become clear. A setback is no longer viewed as a failure but as training. A delay is no longer a punishment but preparation. You start to see that the hard seasons are not meant to destroy you but to equip you with the wisdom and endurance you will need for the greater opportunities ahead. Instead of resenting your challenges, you begin to welcome them because you recognize that each one is shaping you into the person you are meant to become. As this mindset takes root, your endurance grows, you discover a strength within yourself that you never knew existed. Where before you may have quit, now you persevere. Where once you felt hopeless, now you remain steady. The blessing gives you the courage to press on, not because the road is easy, but because you know the journey has meaning. Every trial survived becomes a testimony, and every battle won becomes proof that you are not as fragile as you once believed. Over time, you also begin to notice that the same challenges that once humbled you now prepare you to help others. The wisdom you gain through your struggles becomes a gift you can share. You can look someone in the eyes and say, "I know what you're going through, and I made it through. You can too." Your scars transform into stories that inspire, and your resilience becomes a source of encouragement. The blessing does not just build you up for yourself, it builds you up so you can lift others who are still walking through their storms. This process of refinement also reshapes your relationship with fear. The more challenges you overcome, the less intimidating future obstacles appear. You begin to carry a quiet confidence, a deep assurance that no matter what comes next, you will not only survive, but grow stronger through it. Fear loses its grip because you have already seen what happens when you persevere. You come out wiser, tougher, and more grounded in faith. What used to break you now builds you, and that truth becomes unshakable. In the end, challenges become markers of growth rather than symbols of defeat. They are reminders that you are on a journey of transformation where each trial polishes away weakness and reveals strength. When you are blessed, your challenges stop being the enemy and start becoming your allies, pushing you closer to your purpose. You no longer fear them because you know they are shaping you into the best version of yourself. And that is one of the clearest signs that God's blessing is working in your life. Success appears not as a distant dream, but as a daily reality because you are walking in alignment with divine favor. When the blessing of God is active in your life, success stops being something you hope for someday and becomes something you begin to experience in the present. It may not always show up in grand, dramatic ways at first, but it reveals itself in steady progress, small victories, and doors that continue to open. Each step forward becomes evidence that you are moving in rhythm with a plan much greater than your own. This kind of success feels different from the world's definition. It isn't about chasing recognition or trying to prove yourself to others. Instead, it is about walking in your purpose and seeing the fruit of that alignment show up in your everyday life. Your work becomes more effective, your relationships become stronger, and your mind grows clearer. The blessing of God gives you a sense of fulfillment that success without Him could never provide. It is not just about what you achieve, but about who you are becoming in the process. As this daily reality unfolds, you begin to notice how naturally things fall into place. The same efforts that once felt exhausting now produce results with greater ease. You no longer feel like you are constantly fighting against resistance. Instead, you are flowing with it. This is because divine favor removes unnecessary struggles and leads you toward opportunities that are designed for you. Success becomes less about force and more about faith, less about striving and more about receiving. You also realize that this success is sustainable. Unlike fleeting moments of achievement that disappear as quickly as they come, the success born of blessing is lasting because it is rooted in purpose. It is not dependent on trends, applause, or temporary gains. It is anchored in something eternal. Even when challenges arise, the foundation of your success remains steady because it is built on God's favor rather than human approval. This gives you confidence that what has been started in you will continue to grow and flourish over time. Another powerful part of this reality is the joy that comes with it. Success is no longer tied to anxiety, competition, or fear of losing it all. Instead, it is marked by peace, gratitude, and the freedom to enjoy the journey. You learn to celebrate progress, not just outcomes. You wake up each day with a sense of expectancy, knowing that even the smallest steps forward are part of a bigger picture being woven together in your favor. This joy keeps your spirit strong and your heart motivated. Ultimately, success becomes a lifestyle rather than a destination. You stop waiting for the one big breakthrough and instead begin to recognize that every day carries its own victories. The blessing of God transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary ones because His hand is on everything you touch. When success becomes part of your daily reality, you no longer question if you are on the right path. You know you are because the evidence is undeniable. That is the kind of success that only divine favor can produce. Blessings in your life spill over to those around you, your family, your friends, even strangers who cross your path. When God places His hand upon you, it is never meant to stop with you alone. The favor you carry naturally extends to the people who are connected to you. Your household feels lighter, your relationships become stronger, and even your presence in a room brings an energy of hope and encouragement. People begin to sense that something about your life is different, and that difference begins to touch them in ways you may not even realize. At times, this overflow shows up in practical ways. Maybe it's an unexpected opportunity that allows you to provide more for your family. Maybe it's wisdom gained through your own struggles that gives guidance to a friend in need. Or maybe it's simply the peace and strength you carry that inspires a co-worker or a stranger to believe their own situation can improve. What you receive multiplies as it moves through you, proving that blessings are not meant to be hoarded. They are meant to be shared. This ripple effect is one of the clearest signs of God's blessing. It confirms that what you have is not just material gain or personal success, but something deeper and more impactful. Others begin to benefit simply because they are close to you. The love, patience, and generosity that flow from you become tangible evidence of God's favor. Without even forcing it, your life becomes a channel, pouring out encouragement, provision, or hope to those who are thirsty for it. As this continues, you start to see the responsibility that comes with blessing. You realize that the abundance you experience is not just for your comfort, but for your calling. It equips you to lift others, to ease burdens, and to shine as an example of what happens when faith and favor meet. The more you pour out, the more you are refilled, and this cycle keeps expanding the reach of your influence. The blessing grows stronger, not weaker, when it is shared. This overflow often creates a legacy. The decisions you make, the kindness you show, and the opportunities you create for others have lasting effects. Children, friends, and even strangers will carry pieces of your influence long after you have touched their lives. This means your blessing doesn't just belong to a single moment in time. It multiplies across generations and stories, spreading far beyond what you can measure. That is the power of an overflow rooted in God's hand. Ultimately, the blessing becomes a living testimony. People who come near you will see not just your success, but the impact of your success on everyone around you. They will see that your abundance is not selfish, but generous, not hidden, but shared, not temporary, but enduring. And in that testimony, they will be reminded that God blesses not to isolate, but to elevate communities, families, and entire circles of people. When your blessing spills over, it becomes undeniable that His favor is real, and it transforms lives far beyond your own. You begin to inspire others not with mere words, but by the evidence of your life, shining as a light of hope. People may listen to what you say, but what touches them most deeply is what they see. When your life reflects peace in the middle of storms, strength in the face of obstacles, and gratitude in seasons of abundance, it becomes impossible to ignore. Without forcing it, you become an example to others of what faith, resilience, and divine blessing look like in action. This kind of influence is powerful because it is authentic. Words alone can sometimes be dismissed, but a life that radiates consistency and favor is undeniable. When others watch you face setbacks without losing your spirit, or witness how blessings flow through your life with humility and grace, they feel encouraged that the same is possible for them. Your story becomes a silent sermon, and your actions speak louder than anything you could try to explain. Often, You will not even realize how much you are inspiring those around you. Someone may be observing your perseverance, someone else may be watching how you treat others, and another may be encouraged by how you continue to trust when circumstances look uncertain. Long before they ever tell you, your life has already been planting seeds of hope in them. That is how light works. It doesn't announce itself, it simply shines, and in shining, it guides others who are walking through darkness. This inspiration doesn't come from being perfect. In fact, it often comes through your imperfections. People are moved not because you never fall, but because you rise again after each fall. They see your humanity, your struggles, and your flaws, yet they also see the blessing that continues to carry you forward. That balance between weakness and strength gives others permission to believe that they too can rise above their difficulties and live with renewed purpose. Over time, your life begins to attract those who are searching for direction. Some will come to you for advice, others will follow your example quietly, and many will simply be uplifted by being in your presence. You may not even understand the full impact of your influence, but God uses you as a vessel to spread hope. Your journey, your growth, and your victories become a testimony that inspires people to believe in blessings for their own lives. In the end, this is one of the greatest signs of divine favor, that your life becomes more than your own. It becomes a beacon that lights the way for others who might still be wandering. The blessing you carry shines outward, reminding people that faith is real, that strength is possible, and that hope is never wasted. To inspire others through the evidence of your life is to fulfill a higher purpose, one that multiplies the blessing far beyond yourself and leaves a legacy of light wherever you go. You realize that what God gives you is never just for you. It is designed to uplift, to empower, and to multiply blessings in the lives of others. When divine favor rests upon your life, it carries with it a responsibility greater than personal gain. Every gift, every opportunity, every breakthrough has a purpose beyond your own comfort. It is meant to position you as a channel through which others can experience hope, provision, and inspiration. Blessings are never meant to stop with you. They are meant to flow through you. This understanding changes the way you see success. Instead of clinging tightly to what you have, you begin to share it, knowing that generosity multiplies rather than diminishes. The resources you receive become tools for building others up. The wisdom you gain becomes guidance for those still searching, and the victories you achieve become testimonies for those who need encouragement. In giving away what you have been given, you don't lose. It comes back to you multiplied, because blessings grow stronger when they are used to serve. When you embrace this truth, you find a deeper sense of fulfillment. Personal achievement may bring joy, but nothing compares to the satisfaction of knowing that your life has positively changed another's. Whether it's lifting a burden from a struggling friend, opening a door for someone else, or simply being a source of encouragement, you recognize that the true power of blessing lies in its ability to expand beyond yourself. The joy of others becoming stronger because of your overflow becomes its own reward. This shift also protects you from pride. You no longer see your achievements as the result of your own strength alone, but as a trust placed in your hands to manage wisely. That humility keeps you grounded, reminding you that everything you have is both a gift and an assignment. It stops you from living selfishly and pushes you toward purpose. You realize that the higher you rise, the more people you are called to lift with you. The blessing is not a trophy, it is a responsibility. As your life begins to empower others, you witness the ripple effect of blessing. One act of kindness inspires another. One word of encouragement gives birth to renewed courage. One opportunity shared with someone else opens doors for many more. In this way, your blessing multiplies far beyond your reach. You become part of something bigger, a chain of upliftment that extends into lives you may never even meet. That is the true mark of God's hand, when what He gives you continues to expand in ways you could never have imagined. Ultimately, you understand that this is the true purpose of blessing multiplication. What starts in your life is not meant to remain there. It is designed to spread, to inspire, and to transform others. When you use your blessings to empower people around you, you honor the one who gave them to you. And in return, the cycle of blessing continues, growing wider and deeper, ensuring that what began with you will echo far into the future. That is when you truly know you are walking in divine favor, because your life is not just blessed, it becomes a blessing. So, when God blesses you, you will not have to wonder. You will know, the signs will be undeniable. Doors will open, peace will reign, growth will be unstoppable, and others will be lifted by your overflow. Recognize these signs, walk boldly in them, and never forget blessings are not just for your comfort. they are for your calling.